Hello everyone. Today I want to talk about my quad setup for the performance I did on Saturday night at the Electrowave Festival with my friend John Forshee on tuba. I set up this case to process audio in a quad sound field. So here is the rundown. So first of all, this is a IntelliGel 7U 104 HP performance case, and I have it set up with two outs over here. I have the IntelliGel stereo out, and I have the Bafaco stereo out. I ordered another IntelliGel stereo out, but they were back ordered, so instead of waiting, I hopped on a Bafaco stereo out, and luckily I did because it was the last one that Perfect Circuit had. And I just got my IntelliGel stereo out a couple days ago, so the Bafaco stereo out came in time for the performance, so that was good. And these are both wired into the IntelliGel case, and it has four outputs. You can configure them to be two inputs and two outputs, or a stereo input and a stereo output, or you could have two stereo outputs. And that's how I have it configured for this case. Up here I have the after later audio steps I picked up. I had some ideas to add some ratcheting, but that didn't work too well, so we scrapped that idea. Up here is a buffered mult, which I'm taking the tuba from the Bafaco instrument interface, which was another purchase I made for this performance. And it's an awesome module. It has an envelope follower, which we did experiment with a little bit, but it wasn't working the way I had wanted for controlling some of the different CV on the modules, so we just scrapped that. We only had about a week to practice, and even then it was maybe two practices before our performance, so we had to go through some decisions on what I wanted to perform and how I wanted to process his tuba through my interface. So we plug the tuba mic into the instrument interface, and I have the output going into the buffered mult, and I'm taking three different signal paths from the tuba. The way we structured the performance was in three parts. We wanted it to build. Originally we were going to perform for 20 minutes, but it got cut to 15 minutes, so it seemed to make it a little bit better and tighter for our performance, so it was a good cut. But so we decided to split it into three 5-minute segments. The first 5 minutes I have the tuba being processed through the Rangoon, which is a Rings clone, and it's a resonator. And so when in our experimentation we found that the tuba going through the resonator sounded really nice, so I took that out, the even harmonics, into the Polaris filter down here as a low pass, and then out of that into the FX Aid XL with some delay and some feedback and a little bit of tone control on here, and from there went into this WMD 410 attenuator, 4-channel attenuator, and so we're in channel A here, and it's just a way for me to bring up the levels of each channel of the various processes of the tuba. And on channel A we are going into the 3D VCA. And so at the beginning of the performance, started with the 3D VCA in the front. So we had it just coming through the front speakers. First, I manually controlled sweeping the tuba from the front of the house to the back of the house, and then back to the middle, and then to the left, and then to the right. And thankfully this module gives pretty good feedback visually, because we were in front of the front house speakers, so I couldn't really tell what was going on in the house. And unfortunately we didn't get a discrete quad recording, so we only got house recording, so that was kind of lackluster. But everyone said that the quad sound field sounded pretty good. And then after I moved the tuba through the sound field, I flipped on the CV control of the X and the Y, which were muted through the DivKid mutes. But those are coming from the OCHD or OCHD module here by DivKid, which is one of my favorite modules. And it's going through this attenuator, the 810, so it's 8 attenuators. So it's not a full LFO. So it kind of kept this sound moving around the middle of the room. And then from here, it's going into the Aeolus Mixer by Shakmat. And then this Aeolus Mixer is taking the signal and having out 1 and 2 going to the front of the house through this IntelliGel 1U out, and then outs 3 and 4 going into the Bafaco stereo out, going to the rear channels. So that is one signal path. And then after 5 minutes, I would bring in the second part, which is the tuba going through the fold processor. So this was amazing. So in our initial rehearsal exploration, I brought this case, which had some different modules in it. And then I also brought my palette case with a few more modules in it, so that I couldn't fit in here that I wanted to try. And when we tried the fold processor, it made such a gnarly sound. It was amazing. So decided to put that in this case. And then the out of the fold processor is going into the mimeophone, which is the delay and reverb. I purposely did not have any CV controls on this module because I played this by hand and using my ear, and we kind of played off of each other with this. I would also get it to self-resonate and try to match the pitch of the tuba or get close, and then John would play off of that. So it was pretty awesome. And then that is going into channel 2 or channel B of the 410 attenuator and going into Cvilization. I still need to work with Cvilization some more. I had it going into a panning mode that pans around the room, and then I also had it jumping backwards a little bit and continuing on. Yeah, I need to look at the manual some more because I was trying to figure out how to get it to jump from one quadrant to another. So maybe in the future, but yeah, it's a little bit more complicated to figure out if you're on the right colors and what you're controlling. And I've been watching the videos and stuff, so I'll need to experiment with this more. But it's pretty simple to just have the tuba panning around the room. And then that's also going into the Aeolus Mixer. For the last 5 minutes, I have the tuba going into the R-bar. So during our performance, I would periodically capture audio in the R-bar just so I would have some sound to process. And then it is going out into the WMD carbon down here, the filter. And I have it at a band pass. And it is going into channel C of the 410 by WMD. And then that is going into the Aeolus Seeds. And the one thing I have on here that is being CV controlled is the configuration of the quad, so it's jumping from a circular pattern to infinity pattern to figure eight and so on. And then that's also going into the Aeolus Mixer. And I would also move or increase the speed of the panning to almost audible rates, both forwards and backwards, and that would give a kind of a crazy spinning effect around the room. So those are the main three signal paths. I also had Pam's new workout providing a clock and a reset to the voltage block, and I had various, looks like about 5 different CVs manipulating different parameters. One of them going to the fold CV on the fold processor, and then the other 4 manipulating the 4 parameters on the Rangoon or rings. The OCHD is controlling 2 parameters on the 3D VCA, and then also the scan on the R-bar. And then I also have an OCHD channel coming into controlling the configuration on the Aeolus Seeds. And I think that is about it. If you have any questions, just let me know. This is my first time processing an instrument through my modular, and it was also the first time processing anything through a quad sound field, and it turned out amazing. Thankfully. So, oh, and there were some modules that didn't work out that I had removed and replaced with other modules I thought we could use, but I didn't need much CV control. So the Maestro, the Lapsosauce, and the 3X VCA from Happy Nerding were not needed. And then also I didn't use the Quadrat or the dual VCA 1U from IntelliGel. I think that's about it. So if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm going to be tearing down this case and getting ready for my next performance. Thanks for watching.